Boom, 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 boom. Now tell me what you gonna do, but it ain't nowhere to run. When judgment comes for you, when judgment comes for you, tell me what you gonna do, when it ain't nowhere to hide. When judgment comes for you, 'cause it's gonna come for you.
Making it for water, easy, see something Charlie. Little boo guy's got him, and I'm gonna miss everybody out of row and flows like eggs. Looked at a wild lag and played for dust, and they play too deep for being sad. Little legs I got to be. Tell me your feature deceased, would it please? Marry me by my grand when you can go follow
God bless you, working on a plan to heaven. Follow the Lord on 24/7 days.
Backbone Wrestling Network. Welcome back to the CrosUp, your weekly look back at the week that was in professional wrestling. This week I'll be running through the results happening on Cinco de Mayo Raw and all the way to SmackDown on May the 9th, as well as last night's Backlash pay-per-view. We're going to start with Raw. We open with a long recap of what happened last week. Braun Breaker destroying Sami Zayn, obviously due to Seth Rollins and Paul Heyman telling him to. Jey Uso comes out. He obviously comes through the crowd, does his yeeting stuff with all the kids and the fans. He gets right to the point, calling out Logan Paul. But instead, Paul Heyman comes out. Heyman says he isn't here to disrespect Jey Uso, but Uso talks about how Heyman has a lot of nerve to come out here after what Heyman did to his family, obviously turning on Roman Reigns at WrestleMania. Heyman finds it interesting to hear that coming from Uso after what he did to Roman Reigns all that time ago. Where was everyone to warn Heyman about what was going to happen to him? Heyman blames CM Punk for the betrayal at WrestleMania, and after complaining about they obviously the fans start chanting CM Punk, and so he starts complaining about that. He talks about Punk putting him in a no-win situation at WrestleMania. Then he starts to talk about Roman, who was still playing high school football when Heyman and Punk got together. What did Reigns think he was going to do? Sell his secrets to Punk? Heyman turned Reigns into the tribal chief, and them were the undisputed WWE champion for over 1,000 days, but it was Reigns who lost the title. Then Reigns left him with Solo Sikoa, Jacob Fatu, and the Tongans. And Reigns finally came back, but it wasn't to avenge Heyman, but rather to get his Ulafala back. Everyone wants to blame Heyman, who really loses his mind at some point. He says, but this time he is in the right, and screw everyone else. Uso then says, are you okay? He wants to know what this has to do with him, which sends Heyman into another speech about how Uso doesn't understand what it means to be World Heavyweight Champion. Uso does not know what power that title brings, and Seth Rollins needs that power and deserves that power. Stage 1 is what has happened so far, but stage 2 is taking the title. Uso gets to pick the date he loses the title to Seth Rollins because Rollins is officially challenging him for the championship. Heyman goes to leave, and Uso calls him back in the ring. He says, if it's any place, anytime, we'll go ahead and do it tonight. Paul Heyman, we kind of cut away. I think we may even go to commercial after that. But we come back, and Paul Heyman goes to see Seth Rollins and Braun Breaker backstage and says he can't believe Jey Uso fell for that. Rollins says he told Heyman it would happen before leaving. Heyman explains Rollins' recent efforts and how Uso isn't ready for him tonight to Braun. And then when Rollins wins tonight, they get the keys to the kingdom, the entire group. We then get our first match where Penta defeats JD McDonough via pinfall following a Mexican Destroyer, basically a Canadian Destroyer, but he's obviously from Mexico, so it's Mexican Destroyer. We then get Grayson Waller. He's pleading his case to Adam Pearce and offers the match that's supposed to be his to his buddy Austin Theory. Theory agrees and gets the match, but Waller won't tell him who it's against. He then gets that match where Sheamus beats him via pinfall with the Brogue Kick. Pretty much beats his ass, and Theory looked pretty pissed at Waller after the match was over. Penta, they then announced that Penta is getting an Intercontinental title match at Backlash against Dom Mysterio. JD McDonough isn't happy with his loss, but Dom doesn't seem interested. AJ Styles then comes in to say this place isn't hard to find. Obviously, the Judgment Day clubhouse. But he's coming for whoever wins the title match at Backlash, either Penta or Dom. Styles then leaves, and Dom talks about everyone coming for his title. He suggests Finn Balor deal with Styles next week, but Balor doesn't seem pleased with the idea. But he kind of says he's kidding, and he'll deal with it in a match next week. The New Day then come up to Chad Gable and suggests a mutually beneficial agreement about dealing with the War Raiders, having his boys, the Creed brothers, take care of them, while also guaranteeing them a title shot if they win. Becky Lynch then comes through, and the New Day doesn't like at all what happened to her last week, and then she kind of starts heading towards the ring. She comes out for a promo. She doesn't like being told that she sucks because she should be thanked for taking out the garbage. Then she took out the recycling. The garbage was Bailey. The recycling is Lyra, which because she says that it's exactly what Lyra Valkyria is. Valkyria is slightly better than garbage, but is still worthless. The reality is that Valkyria owes everything to her. So obviously that brings Lyra out. Lyra says Becky is the queen of recycling, as she has done the same things over and over and over. The reality is that Lynch went on holidays and everyone else got better, including herself, who is now the women's intercontinental champion. Valkyria has had more title defenses than Lynch has shown up. She's had more title defenses than days that Lynch has shown up to work this year. Becky then goes into a rant about being the best ever, even citing Sports Illustrated, saying that she was so. Lyra then lists off Becky's accomplishments, but it doesn't include being the first women's intercontinental champion. As long as Valkyria is here, Becky will better like second place. The brawl is they then get into a brawl and security can't break it up. Lynch gets away and rants about disrespect, only to get caught with the Nightwing to leave her laying. We then go to our next match where Io Sky defeats Roxanne Perez via pinfall following a ridiculous trading of pinfalls. I swear they go back and forth, trading pinfalls like 10 or 11 times. But Io finally gets the advantage and gets the 3 on Roxy. We then actually get a show of respect after the match, but Julia eventually runs in and attacks Io, and then both of them beat down Io. And then Rhea Ripley is in Australia at this point doing some media for the Crown Jewel show that they'll have eventually in Perth. So she actually doesn't, Io doesn't have anybody to save her this time. So she actually gets beat down and left laying by Roxy and Julia. We then get another match where Rusev defeats Otis via submission with the Accolade. After the match, Akira Tozawa comes after Rusev, earning both Tozawa and Otis another beating. Tozawa gets powerbombed onto Otis, and he locks in the Accolade once again on Otis before getting pulled off by security. Adam Pearson comes out, brings Pat McAfee into the ring to address the Gunther situation. Gunther comes out as well. And McAfee isn't important enough for him to dress in a suit, so he's just wearing regular clothes. Gunther promises to keep this professional, unlike Michael Cole, but he does not appreciate the "you tapped out" chants that the crowd continues to hurl his way. McAfee puts over Michael Cole as a legend, and since Gunther had to attack a 6-year-old man, he'll give Gunther his opinion about him. McAfee puts over the town of Omaha for how good they've been at producing things, talking about how both of them grew up watching wrestling, all the wrestling they could, and learning from all the greats. McAfee grew up as a huge wrestling fan, dreaming that he could one day get in the ring. For Gunther, it's become a job after 20 years, but McAfee, it's still the biggest thrill. On Saturday, McAfee is going to prove that this version of Gunther is soft. After some staring, Gunther asked if McAfee enjoyed his daughter's birthday last week. That must have been a special day, and now Backlash is going to be a special day for Gunther. It's his first match since WrestleMania, and he's going to be more focused than ever. And then Gunther promises to destroy McAfee once and for all, but tonight he'll be safe. And then we go to our main event where Seth Rollins defeats Jey Uso, but it's by DQ when CM Punk comes out and attacks Rollins with a chair. Sami Zayn, Punk, and Uso then stand tall at the end of the show as Heyman, Braun Breaker, and Seth Rollins retreat to the back. That main event match was pretty good, but I would go with the Io and Roxy match as my match of the night on Raw. Both are very good, but that one had a little bit more of a finish than the main event did, so I would give the edge to that just for having an actual finish other than just a DQ. We'll go to NXT from there. We get Dark State opening the show, defeating Hank and Tank and Joe Hendry when they hit the triple toss powerbomb on Tank after Trick Williams had distracted Hendry and gotten him kind of away from the ring. We then get Carmen Petrovich and Thea Hale. They're talking about the women's division in the back. When Jada Parker comes in to talk down to them, Petrovich seems ready to fight Parker soon, so I think a match will be made for later in the night. The No Quarter Catch crew then cut a promo about being ready to fight in the Battle Royal tonight, even if it is every man for himself, and it comes down to one or two of them. We then get Zarya defeating Kalani Jordan via pinfall following the F5. We then get Wesley, Tyreek Igwe, and Tyson DuPont. They come up to mock Tony D'Angelo, who would rather fight than talk. They'll see each other later in the Battle Royal. Lola Vice then says she knows Stephanie McCurry is ready for whomever wins the main event. Julia comes in and says she is waiting on Vicker. Seems fairly confident that she is going to come away with the victory in that match with Jordan Grace. We then get our 25-man Battle Royal, and Miles Bourne scores the upset win for the No Quarter Catch crew, and he becomes the number one contender for the NXT title at Battleground, just eliminating Ethan Page. I think Spears had kind of already hit the ground before he dumps Page over as well, but they kind of go out at the same time. So he really wins last eliminating Page and Spears. But also featured in the 25-man Battle Royal, Trick Williams, who got taken out by Hendry, came out and distracted him, and Elijah had dumped him over the top rope. Javon Evans was in there, Brad Baylor from Evolve, Timothy Thatcher, Ricky Smokes, Sean Legacy, Tavion Heights, Lexus King, Sean Spears, like I said, Nico Vance, Brooks Jensen, Ashante the Adonis, Elijah, like I said, from TNA, Wes Lee, Tyreek Igwe, Tyson DuPont, Chris Island, who's from the LFG series, Charlie Dempsey, Inamura, Shiloh Hill, who's also from LFG, Zachary Wentz from TNA, Josh Briggs, and Ridge Holland. And then after the match, obviously Miles, like I said, scored the upset win, and the rest of the No Quarter Catch crew come out to celebrate, despite Charlie Dempsey never getting in the ring and seeming like he's happy, but kind of disappointed it wasn't him. We then get Jordan Grace. She says she is ready to become the number one contender. Izzy Dame and Lash Legend come in to laugh at her, with Grace saying she'll win the title and see them on the other side. Grace and this really proves how short Jordan Grace is, as these two towering women were just like a whole foot taller than her. It was kind of ridiculous. But the next match is Jada Parker defeating Carmen Petrovich via pinfall when she hits the Hypnotic. After the match, Parker stays on her, but Thea Hale makes the save. Parker knocks Hale off the apron as well, but bails when Petrovich gets back up. We then get Ava with Joe Hendry. She says that he'll be defending his TNA title against Trick Williams at Battleground, and that next week they will have a contract signing for the match. We then get a video of OTM. They've been out for a while, but they seem to be on their way back to be in the tag team division. We then see Wes Lee walking with his boys in the back. He's on the phone and tells Igwe and DuPont that everybody has a price, and seems to be on the phone with somebody about bringing them in to help them out. We then get Yoshiki Inamura. He knows he has disappointed Josh Briggs, and he said he is on his way back to Japan. Inamura gives him back the vest that he had that Briggs had given him. It's they obviously seem to be still friends, but Inamura knows he has to go back to Japan. The Calling then come in, and Brooks Jensen tells Briggs that maybe he's the problem with all these tag teams of his breaking up. We then get Charlie Dempsey. He suggests that Miles give him the title shot for the good of the team. Obafemi comes in and says he'll see Bourne at Battleground. Dempsey says he'll be getting the shot, but Bourne says not so fast. Instead, how about Dempsey faces Femi next week? And if he wins, he can get added to the title match. Or and then obviously Femi's like, I'm done with triple threat matches, so he'll defeat Dempsey next week and not have to worry about it. But and then Bourne says something about Femi saying, he says something like, "Damn, he's pissed about possibly having a triple threat." So we then go to Chase U in the classroom where the students have some new gear for Andre Chase. He tries on a couple of different tracksuits. One is like just the top part, and then the second outfit is him in like a full-on tracksuit that's red and black, like the Chase U logos and all that stuff. But he seems to like the second tracksuit instead of the sweater and pants combo. And then we get our main event where Jordan Grace defeats Julia via pinfall with a Juggernaut driver. This makes her the number one contender for the NXT title at Battleground. And then Stephanie McCord comes out and they stare down to end the show. And that was absolutely the best match. The Battle Royal was actually a really good Battle Royal, I would say, as well. Had the surprise winner. When it kind of came down to the final four, it was kind of confusing to see who they might go with. But I don't mind an upset. I think Bourne is talented. We'll see how he does against Femi. But it's definitely a match that has me interested going into it. So they at least have that, I'll say. But we'll see how it goes. But we go from there to Dynamite. Hangman Page comes out to open the show. He says he has no idea why anyone would cheer for him after everything he has done, but they certainly seem happy to see him. Page then talks about the horrible things he has done to Swerve Strickland and how he was so close to closure, but it never came. He didn't know why, and then he channeled that anger at everyone around him. While he can never forget what Strickland did, he can put it behind him. That brings him to Double or Nothing, where he will face Will Ospreay for a world title shot at All In. Ospreay then comes out, who says this is the first time they've actually even ever met. Ospreay understands what this means to Page and talks about Page's history in AEW. Then he lost it, and things went bad. But last week, for the first time in a good while, Page smiled again. While a lot of people want to see Page be happy again, Ospreay isn't losing at Double or Nothing. Ospreay has been doing all of Page's jobs, from meet and greets to media to photos with kids. Just because Page is smiling again doesn't mean he can take that spot back, because that doesn't mean cowboy shit to Ospreay. This is about his ascension, and of course, him talking about that brings out the Don Callis family. Callis calls Ospreay an idiot for leaving the team, so Ospreay issues a challenge for a tag match, but Page doesn't seem interested in tagging with Ospreay. He says that's fine, or Callis says that's fine with him, who says the match is on for next week, assuming Page doesn't have another mental breakdown before then. We then get FTR and Stokely Hathaway. They come out for commentary, or come out to the commentary table and mock Tony Schiavone, who is almost ready to fight Stokely. FTR cuts that off and is ready to beat up Daniel Garcia on Collision. And then they actually point out that they'll see Nigel McGuinness tomorrow night too, as Collision is going to be on Thursday, as I'll talk about next. We then get Harley Quinn and Anna Jay. They say they have T and A, which means in this case tenacity and aggression. They have that in spades to win tonight. Jay thinks they have the more common definition as well, and Cameron seems to agree. So really, really funny stuff there. We then get a four-way where Toni Storm defeats Penelope Ford, Anna Jay, and Thunder Rosa when she makes Ford tap to the TCM chicken wing. We then again see that the crew are in the crowd. They seem to be at all these shows, but they never seem to actually be in the ring. They seem to always be in the crowd watching the show. But they're obviously here to see the Hurt Syndicate come out as they're in the tag division. They say they are the best tag team in AEW, so who is here to challenge them? Top Flight then come out to interrupt, saying they know they're underdogs, but they're ready to show that they belong. MJF, in basically just like a wife beater and some dress slacks, comes out and absolutely jumps and beats the tar out of Top Flight, laying them out from behind, bloodying them up a little bit. Lashley then seems impressed because that's what he kind of wanted MJF to do, is to hurt somebody, as that's what the Hurt Syndicate does. Seems to be ready to give MJF the thumbs up, but says that he'll have to wait till next week. We then get the Elite and Ricochet. They are ready for their match tonight. Nick Wayne then defeats a surprise opponent in a open challenge for his TV title, which is Rhino. He beats him via pinfall with the kill switch as an homage to his quote-unquote father, Christian. After the match, Cage goes to put the belt on Wayne, but then throws it down before leaving by himself. We then get Roosh. He wants revenge on Kevin Knight for costing him $100,000 on Collision last week. We then get the Young Bucks and Ricochet defeating Swerve Strickland, Mark Briscoe, and Speedball Mike Bailey when Matt is able to score an inside cradle on Swerve Strickland. MJF then interrupts Will Ospreay backstage, and they argue for a bit with MJF wanting to face him again to show that Ospreay isn't on his level. Ospreay then says he is on another level. So he says they aren't on the same level, but Ospreay is far above him. We then get a sit-down interview with Jamie Hayter, who doesn't think Mercedes Moné is much like Owen Hart. She wants to know the real Moné, who says that Hayter is like her. That doesn't work for Hayter, who doesn't have the same resume as Moné, but she has integrity, grit, and truth. This is about showing Moné that she isn't everything she thinks she is, because Moné is looking past her. Moné then runs in for a cheap shot, and the chase is on. They brawl into the arena, and Moné runs off again, but comes back and knocks her down and puts her in the statement maker, and obviously just makes her tap and writhe in pain for that. We then get Willow Nightingale. She wants a title shot at some point, but Chris Statlander interrupts. Nightingale doesn't want to talk to Statlander, but they can have a match on Collision if that's what needs to be done. We then get Kazuchika Okada. He defeats Kevin Knight via pinfall following the Rainmaker. Post-match, the beatdown stays on, but Speedball comes out and makes the save and saves his buddy. We then get the Don Callis family telling the Outrunners to get some partners, and they can face them on Collision. We then get the Syndicate's lawyer that tells Bobby Lashley to not say anything about MJF until next week. And then we get our main event where Samoa Joe defeats Claudio Castagnoli via submission with the Coquina Clutch. After the match, the Death Riders come into the ring, but Powerhouse Hobbs comes and runs them off with a chair to make the save for Joe. And then Castagnoli ends up being left in the ring by the rest of his buddies and gets beaten down by Hobbs and Joe to end the show. The six-man tag that the Young Bucks and Ricochet defeated Swerve Strickland, Mark Briscoe, and Speedball Mike Bailey would be my match of the night for Dynamite. Not the best in-ring show for Dynamite, but I'd say that six-man was worth the check out. But then we'll go to Collision. Like I said, it was on Thursday this week, so a little earlier. I think they were trying to avoid going up against Backlash, as well as some NBA stuff, NBA and NHL playoff stuff, kind of interrupting where they would usually be. So I think that's kind of why they did that this week. Toni Storm is what we see first. She's in a box seat. She naturally has the spotlight on her. She says, "So many men have taken a shot at me in here. I feel," she says, so many men have taken a shot at me in here." And she says she feels like Abraham Lincoln because of that. She talks about her first time being messy, but it was something she wanted to do more often. Eventually, it resulted in objects being added and filthy perverts watching. Of course, she's talking about fighting for women's title. So get her someone ready for next week because she isn't waiting for a hater or a CEO. We then get the Paragon backstage, which is O'Reilly and Strong. They are disappointed with their loss to FTR last week, but they're still a great team. Adam Cole is glad that they know they're still great. But then the grizzled young veterans who hadn't been around in a while come in and interrupt. The veterans think the Paragon have gone soft, so they are ready to fight them anytime. We then got our next match where Ricochet defeats Angelico via pinfall following the Spirit Gun. Post-match, Ricochet mocks the fans who should be cheering for him. He's only been here for less than a year and has already beaten most of the AEW favorites. Ricochet then sees Zach Gowen of 2003 WWE fame in the crowd, and he says he remembers being a big fan of his growing up. We get some one-legged jokes, and then he beats up some security, offering commentary at the same time. Ricochet whips out a pair of scissors to cut one of the guard's hair, which brings Gowen into the ring. Gowen then takes the scissors but gets dropped as well, and then Ricochet rips off his prosthetic leg and walks away with it. We then got our next match where the Don Callis family, represented by Lance Archer, Kyle Fletcher, Trent, and Rocky Romero, they defeat AR Fox, Bandito, and the Outrunners when Romero and Trent hit a jackal driver on Fox. We then get video of Samoa Joe versus Jon Moxley, who will face each other in a cage match on Dynamite next week. Moxley is ready to fight inside of the cage. There's no one on the planet better at taking a beating than him. How long will it last? Moxley can take it, and he's coming out as the champion because he isn't like the rest of the world. We then get Anthony Bowens. He defeats Lee Johnson via pinfall following a discus forearm. After the match, Blake Christian goes in to help his buddy and go after Bowens, but gets tossed out by Billy Gunn. Bowens then talks about how he is a 5-tool player, and then we obviously get an old cool scissor session with Gunn and Bowens after the match. We then get the Gates of Agony. They're out to cut a promo. They waste no time calling out Big Bill and Brian Keith for a fight, which they come out and run out, and it happens in a hurry. Leona misses a charge and goes over the barricade, but Bishop Khan does a crucifix bomb onto Brian Keith off the ramp and through some tables. Security comes out, but Khan eventually spears Big Bill off to the other side of the ramp, and they go through some tables as well, which wraps up the segment. We then get video of Megan Bayne versus Anna Jay, as well as mentioning Harley Cameron and Penelope Ford. I think they'll have a tag match coming up pretty soon. We also get video of Chris Statlander versus Willow and their rivalry and how they've kind of gotten to this point. We can then get their match where Statlander defeats Willow Nightingale via pinfall following the Saturday Night Fever after Penelope and Bayne had gotten a little bit involved. Or not Penelope and Bayne, but Marina Shafir is who got involved. Sorry, I miswrote that at the time. But Marina Shafir comes out and messes with Willow Nightingale, and Statlander unknowingly takes advantage of so. We then get a highlight package showing Sky Blue and how she will be returning next week. We then get Takeshita and Josh Alexander defeating the Dark Order of Alex Reynolds and Evil Uno when Alexander hits the C4 spike on Reynolds. We then get video of MJF trying to join her business by hurting people. And we'll see what Lashley has to say come Dynamite. We then get Mike Bailey. He defeats Dralistico via pinfall following the tornado kick. Post-match, Roosh comes out to stare down with Bailey, obviously leading to some kind of match between the two of them. And then we get our main event of Dax Harwood versus Daniel Garcia, but it ends in a no contest. I don't know if it goes to a time limit or what. It just kind of ended, and the bell just kind of rang at a certain point. So I guess it was a no contest due to a time limit. But Nigel, Daniel Garcia, and Matt Menard clear out the ring to end the show and stand tall. Willow and Stat would be my best match of the night. That Dax and Daniel Garcia match was good, but I think it would have been probably a little bit better had it had a finish. We'll then go to Impact. Trick Williams comes out to open the show. He is the number one contender for the TNA World Title at Battleground. After bragging about his attractiveness, Williams brings up Joe Hendry. Brings up taking out Joe Hendry last week. He isn't bothered by the booing and yelling of the fans. He says that Hendry wants to be liked while Williams wants to be respected. Williams is ready to take everything from Hendry, who comes out to the ring for a brawl. Security breaks it up, and Hendry beats up the security guards to blow off a little steam, it seems. Robert Stone then comes in and complains to Victoria Crawford about tonight's card because Santino Marella is bad at his job. Lei Ying Lee defeats Rosemary via pinfall following a thunderstruck kick after Zaya Brookside had told Rosemary not to cheat. So Lee was able to take advantage. Trick Williams then walks by Mike Santana in the backstage. After a brief stare down, Santana goes and finds Sami Callihan, who is sitting with somebody that is dressed like the Green Goblin for some reason. Santana appreciated the barbed wire massacre a few weeks ago, which earns a handshake from Sami. First Class then comes in and says they're here to talk to Sami. They want him in First Class, but he ends up leaving with his little goblin friend instead, and Santana doesn't seem too impressed with either of the First Class guys. We then get the Team by Elegance. They are giving Maggie Lee her makeover. We will get the results either. I don't think they announced when it was going to happen, but it doesn't happen the rest of the show, so I'm guessing it'll be next week. But we may have Maggie by Elegance next week, so we'll see. We then get the Aztec Warriors. They defeat the Great Hands when Octagon Jr. hits a springboard moonsault on Hotch. Post-match, Mustafa Ali runs in to jump the Warriors, but the Rascals come in and make the save, which leads to our next match, which is Mustafa Ali defeating Trey Miguel via pinfall following the downward spiral. We then get Steve Macklin. He says he's ready to face Eric Young in a dog collar match tonight for his international title, and it's time to finally finish this for good. Indy Hartwell then talks about in a little promo segment that she is all she has done to get here, including how much she loved TNA wrestling growing up in Australia. She says she doesn't want to be a knockout, but she simply wants to be the knockout of the division when she begins her career and begins wrestling here in TNA. The Hardys then come out for a promo. They say they lost the tag team titles to the Nemeths, and it makes them feel like they let their fans down. That doesn't work for them, but now it's time to fight and scratch and claw their way back to the titles. They're on the Hardy Soul Train, and it's time to delete the new champion's title reign. The Nemeths then come out and say they are going to make this fast because they have a plane to catch. They think the Hardys are legends, but sometimes legends fall. The rematch can take place at Under Siege, and they can make it a ladder match just to make the Hardys feel comfortable. But then they remember that Jeff Hardy can't go to Canada due to some prior trouble that he has gotten in. This brings out Santino Marella to make Jeff Hardy versus Nick Nemeth for next week in a singles match, and then Matt can find a partner, and they can face the Nemeths for the title at Under Siege. So Jeff obviously can't go to Canada for reasons that I won't dive into. They're pretty well known at this point, but Matt will get the title shot, and he gets to pick his partner. So we'll see who that ends up being and see if they can avenge the Hardys' loss and take out the Nemeths. We then get Victoria Crawford making her debut. She defeats Brittany Brooks via pinfall following the axe kick. After the match, Masha Slamovich comes out to brawl with Crawford, but Tessa Blanchard comes in to drop Slamovich before she can really do much. Santino then comes out to make a tag match for next week, but Stone comes in and he says he's going to pick Slamovich's partner, and it's going to be Nikita Lyons from NXT. We then get Ariana Grace. She tries to calm down things between Robert Stone and Santino. Tessa comes in to yell about how to be proper about a way to build a family legacy, as she implies that Ariana's not making her family legacy look much better, and she has made it. She has made the Blanchard legacy into diamonds at this point. So, and then in the main event, Steve Macklin defeats Eric Young via pinfall following the KIA in an absolutely brutal dog collar match, and Macklin celebrates at the end of the show as this rivalry seems to be all but over after this brutal match. And that was absolutely the best match of the night. Ali and Miguel had a good solid little match as well, but this one just had a bit more stakes and a bit more meaning and rivalry to it, so I will give the edge to Macklin and Young there. We will then move to SmackDown. Damian Priest is walking in the backstage before a tag match that's going to open the show. He says he's ready to get the U.S. title back, but LA Knight comes in and says he wants his title back as well. They're willing to work together tonight, despite maybe some differences in the past few weeks. They then go on to defeat Solo Sikoa and Jacob Fatu in a tag match when Knight hits the BFT on Solo. After the match, Fatu takes out Knight and Priest, but ends up getting claymored by Drew McIntyre, who is also going to be in the Fatal 4-Way at Backlash. We then get R-Truth, obviously still being a huge fan of John Cena. He has a sign waiting for him to arrive. Jimmy Uso comes in to ask what he's doing. R-Truth says he still isn't convinced that Cena has really gone bad. And Uso seems pretty confused by how R-Truth could possibly think that. We then get Drew McIntyre interviewed in the back. He says he isn't sure why Priest is getting a title shot because Drew beat him at WrestleMania. He doesn't think much of LA Knight either. And Fatu being all gas and no brakes means he's going to hit a wall at some point, and that wall is going to be McIntyre when he takes his U.S. title from him. We then get a recap of Chelsea Green's recent issues, including losing her U.S. title. Her and the Secret Hervis held a funeral for her title reign. When Nick Aldis and Zelina Vega came in, the three of them imply that Vega has no friends, so Aldis makes a tag team match and tells Zelina if she can find a partner, they will face Chelsea and Piper later. We then get a Aleister Black package talking about kind of his return, how he's not going to speak in riddles anymore. He's going to just tell it flat out and say what he needs to say. We then get that tag match where Zelina Vega and Alexa Bliss, who returned, defeat Chelsea Green and Piper Niven when Bliss hits the Sister Abigail DDT on Chelsea. Rey Fenix cuts Santos Escobar off as he's talking to him because he already beat Escobar last week. Legado del Fantasma then run in to jump Phoenix until agents and security kind of break them up, and then Andrade comes in to check on Phoenix as well. We then get Charlotte, who comes out to cut a promo. She says she's fresh off the greatest women's match in WrestleMania history. That may be a stretch. And says she took Tiffany Stratton to the limit. Now she's here to announce her path back to the title. The fans don't seem very, very pleased by that. She wants to know why they are so disrespectful to her. If they don't lighten up, she's leaving and never coming back to this town. Charlotte then goes to leave, but walks by Jade Cargill, who's headed out for her match next. She's here to become the number one contender. Cargill even tells her to go to the back of the line, which isn't likely to set well with Charlotte. After the break, we don't quite go to the match yet, but Charlotte's leaving the arena. She won't listen to what Nick Aldis has to say. But as soon as she gets to her car, the door slams shut, and Alexa Bliss is waiting for her to have some kind of conversation, I guess. But they don't show it or they kind of cut it off before they can say anything to each other. We then get Nia Jax defeating Jade Cargill via pinfall with an Annihilator after Naomi had come in and provided a distraction. This makes Nia the number one contender for Tiffany. So that match will happen at some point. I'm assuming it may happen at Saturday night's main event, since that'll be the next big show to come up. Michin and B-Fab are then in the backstage, and they talk to the Street Profits and talk about how good their TLC match was a few weeks ago. We then get the Street Profits coming out to cut a promo. They've been the talk of the town in the recent weeks and just had the greatest TLC match of all time. Again, maybe a stretch, but it was very good. And the match even involved a prosthetic leg, apparently. Fraxium then comes out to interrupt, says they're happy to be here on SmackDown. Now they want a title shot. But then the Profits are a bit shocked as Fraxium has only been around for a few weeks. So they say they'll have a match, and it actually happens next. And Fraxium is able to defeat the Street Profits when they hit the leg sweep missile dropkick combo on Montez Ford. So it seems like they'll get a title match at some point in the future, but they won the non-title match here. They have some respect shown between the two teams after the match, shaking hands. Then we go to the back. Tiffany Stratton is looking for Naomi, but finds Nia Jax instead. Jax is ready to win the title back, but Stratton is going to send her to the losers table with Charlotte. We then get a video for the Gunther versus Pat McAfee match that will happen tomorrow night at Backlash. We then get the Miz and Carmelo Hayes in the back. Miz gives him a pep talk before he faces Aleister Black. He says, granted, this one should go better because Miz will be in the right place at the right time instead of the wrong place at the wrong time, like Hayes was last week. We then get Aleister Black. He defeats Carmelo Hayes via pinfall when Hayes runs into Miz as Miz was on the apron, and Black is able to roll him up off of that and get the 3. After the match, Miz kind of tries to come in, and Black gives him a black mass and leaves him laying once again. We then get Solo Sikoa. He says he and Jacob Fatu need to have a game plan for tomorrow night, but Fatu just wants to wreck people, which makes Solo Sikoa just kind of be like, okay. But Sikoa seems like he's still going to come up with a plan of his own. The Motor City Machine Guns are in the back. They're talking to Fraxium. They talk about how proud they are of him, and they know they'll face each other one day down the line. And then DIY runs in and lays out all 4 of them. We then get Phoenix and Andrade. They defeat Los Garzas when Andrade hits the message on Berto. Post-match, Escobar comes in and yells at both Los Garzas with Berto kind of standing up to him and leaving by himself. And Angel is just kind of in the middle and doesn't really know what to do with himself. We then get John Cena to close the show. He cuts a promo after getting his introduction that he's been doing lately, where he brings out the card and the guy reads it. Cena says, "Everyone's childhood dies tomorrow. Randy Orton is not here tonight, and that is because he took Cena's advice from last week." Cena goes over his history with Orton, how much success they've had. If you are a part of this generation, you have picked one of them over the other. But tomorrow, everything ends. Everyone has to pick one more time, and the reality is that Orton has been lying to himself for years. Orton has never been held accountable for any of his failures. He is the greatest. He is the greatest of all time at not living up to his potential. Cena is the greatest of all time at hustle. Orton is a lazy boy and coast, which is what he describes as loyalty. Cena is the greatest of all time at being loyal. Orton has to beg for respect because no one knows who Bob Orton Sr. is, and the only thing Bob Orton Jr. ever accomplished was knocking up Orton's mom. The only thing Randy has ever done is ride on Cena's coattails. Tomorrow, Randy kills his own legend by being, just like his 2006 drug test, a failure. Cena is the greatest of all time because he is respect. And then someone in a mask comes from behind, looking like they're about to hit an RKO, but gets caught in an attitude adjustment. And then the real Randy Orton comes out and hits an RKO and leaves Cena lying once again. The Fraxium Street Profits match was probably the best match of the week. Fraxium continues to be on a roll, as well as the Street Profits, obviously coming off that TLC match, which was one of the best TV matches of the year. Follow it up with a really good banger with Fraxium here. So I'm looking forward to them probably having a title match either on SmackDown or Saturday Night's Main Event or one of the pay-per-views coming up. So really looking forward to that rematch. And then we will end the week with Backlash. We go there. We open with the Fatal 4-Way for the U.S. title, where Jacob Fatu retains, beating LA Knight, Drew McIntyre, and Damian Priest, when the debuting Jeff Cobb comes out and absolutely wrecks LA Knight, allowing Fatu to eventually hit the triple jump moonsault and retain his championship. Post-match, Jacob looks at Sikoa and Cobb, but ends up leaving on his own. We then get Lyra Valkyria defeating Becky Lynch via pinfall after reversing a roll-up into one of her own. After the match, Lynch grabs her in the disarmor, and something happened with Valkyria's eye or nose or something at the end of the match because she kept grabbing at it, and at one point Becky pokes her in the eye, but I think she might have gotten a little bit more than she meant to on that, because she was holding her face like she either couldn't see or couldn't breathe out of her nose or something like that. So Valkyria got pretty fucked up at the end of the match by something. So, but Lynch beats her down, kind of leaves her laying after the match. We then get Dom Mysterio. He retains his Intercontinental Championship after El Grande Americano attacked Penta, allowing for Dom to hit the Frog Splash, and like I said, retained his Intercontinental Championship. We then get Gunther defeating Pat McAfee via submission when McAfee passed out in the sleeper hold. Post-match, Gunther actually shows a bit of respect for McAfee and him hanging in there with him as long as he did. And then the main event, John Cena defeats Randy Orton via pinfall following a low blow and a belt shot after R-Truth had come in and stopped Randy from hitting the punt on Cena. And then after the match, Cena grabs the mic and says he wants competition and isn't finding it here. He then goes to leave, but seems to get cheered a little bit, which kind of makes him pause a little bit when he's looking at his belt before he leaves. Kind of thinking it kind of seemed like he started to appreciate it and not understand why they were still cheering him and stuff like that. So, but he eventually leaves. But he got a little bit of a cheer, and it seemed like they kind of broke him a little bit with that. But Becky and Lyra was way better than I thought it was going to be. It was a really good card up to top to bottom. I won't say a couple of them were like all-time greats or anything like that, or anything was maybe all-time great, but Lyra and Becky exceeded my expectations, and Cena and Orton did as well. And that Fatal 4-Way is really entertaining. Dom and Penta was pretty paint by numbers, but I like both of those guys, so it was an entertaining match. And people are going to hate McAfee being in there with Gunther, or them wasting Gunther on McAfee, but people were invested. The crowd was into it. And ultimately, that's really what it comes down to. And McAfee played his role. People are going to complain again also that he lasted too long in the submission, but I mean, that's just how it goes, man. Gunther's awesome. He's going to be awesome, and he'll be fine coming out of this. Not being, not being able to beat a punter easier than that, but it was a solid match. It was probably the quote unquote worst match of the night, but that doesn't mean it was bad whatsoever. But we'll go to some match rankings. We'll go ahead and do the pay-per-view match rankings. Like I said, Becky and Lyra was great. That was the number one match for me. The U.S. Fatal 4-Way would be number 2. It and Cena and Orton were kind of even for me. But Cena and Orton would be 3. Penta Dom would be 4. And Pat and Gunther, like I said, would be number 5. But solid card. Really enjoyed the whole show. So I would definitely go watch all of Backlash. But definitely at least check out the opener, the main event, and the women's match. We'll do some TV match rankings then. And like I said, Fraxium and the Street Profits would be number 1 for me. Io, Sky, and Roxanne Perez would be number 2. Rollins and Uso would be number 3 for me. I would put number 4 as Steve Maclin and Eric Young in that dog collar match at 4. And then Willow and Chris Statlander would be number 5 for me this week. So that'll wrap up the show this time. This is actually my 1-year anniversary. So this would be episode number 52, but I had to skip a couple of weeks there in the middle. So I've actually made it a whole year going through this pod. Obviously, episode 52 will be in a couple of weeks, so that'll be when I've truly covered a year's worth of stuff. But happy to continue to do it. I watch it anyway, so it makes sense to convey it to the world somehow if other people can't get to watching all of it and kind of want to know what's going on around the wrestling world. So I appreciate everyone that's listened for the whole year, and I hope you continue to listen, and we will see you next week.
Your time is up, my time is now. You can't see me, my time is now. It's the franchise where I'm shining now. You can't see me, my time is now. In case you forgot or fell off, I'm still hot, knock your shell off. My money stacked fat, plus I can't turn the swell off. The franchise doing big business, I live this, it's automatic, I win this. So you hear those horns, you finish, a soldier. And I stay under you fighting, plus I'm storming on you chumps like I'm thunder and lightning. Ain't no way you breaking me, kid, I'm harder than nails. Plus I keep it on lock like I'm part of the jail. I'm slaughtering stale competition. I got the whole block wishing they could run with my division, but they gone fishing with no bait. Kid, your boy hold weight. I got my soul straight. I brush your mouth like Colgate. In any weather, I'm never better. Your boy's so hot, you never catch me in the next man's sweater. If they hate, let them hate. I drop your whole clan. Lay your ass down for the 3-second tan. Your time is up, my time is now. You can't see me, my time is now. It's the franchise where I'm shining now. You can't see me, my time is now.
It's gon' be what it's gon' be. 5 pounds of courage, buddy bass, 10 pants with a gold tee. It's a war dance, a victory step. A boss stance is a gift, and you insist it's my rep. John Cena trademark, y'all are so-so. And talk about the bread you make, but don't know the recipe for dough. Aiming guns in all your photos, that's a no-no. When this pop, your lip lock, your big talks a blatant no-so. See what happens when the ice age melt. It seems monetary status is not what matters, but it helps. I'm rocking Timepiece by Benny, if any. The same reason y'all could love me is the same reason y'all condemn me. A man's measured by the way that he thinks, not clothing lines, ice links, leather and minks. I spent 20 plus years seeking knowledge of self. So for now, Mark Fredka's living life for wealth.
Your time is up, my